will control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host Mark. Today we are covering an episode of The Twilight Zone. This is from Season 1, Episode 27, called The Big Tall Wish. This one was written by Rod Serling and it's a very Serling-esque episode, not surprisingly. Also, there was some really interesting stuff going on here, both in the cinematography and the music. Now, the music was actually scored by Jerry Goldsmith. It was an original score by Jerry Goldsmith. That was kind of cool. And I really like some of the things that Ron Winston, the director, managed to do in this. It's a notable episode. It first aired on April the 8th, 1960, and it's a notable episode because it's pretty much an almost all black cast, which is kind of cool. The leads and the antagonists and and secondary characters are all black, and it's kind of refreshing and nice to see this in 1960. It's pretty early on in what was happening in America around this time for something like this, but Serling manages to sell it. Serling also is famous for sort of saying, TV, like the movies, is guilty of a sin of omission, which is they're constantly looking for new talent, but there's one pool of talent they don't look, and that is two African American actors. And so he was very happy to sort of not exploit, but to sort of use that talent in this episode. It starts it's about a sort of boxer who's on the way out, the end of his career, but he's going for a fight. But he lives in a place. Also, there's quite an interesting monologue right at the beginning. Not a monologue, sorry. He's talking to a little boy. He's a friend of a little boy who also lives in the block, and the mother of the boy. And he's talking about you don't need to write down your history when you're a boxer. It's all on your face. And he starts going through the various scars on his face, talking about different fights. So you get a perspective of how long he's been around. Now, the little kid is called Henry Temple. The character's Henry Temple, played by Stephen Perry. Now, I have to say, this kid gave a great performance. Sometimes child actors are problematic. They just haven't got the sort of experience to deliver stuff, or the talent maybe sometimes, certainly the experience. But this kid was great. He was terrific, really good in this role, and it was nice to see. And the main lead is played by Irvin Dixon. Now, he's a boxer, and actually apparently originally a real boxer called Archie Moore was going to be playing this character, but there was problems with the scheduling and sort of keeping up with production, so they replaced him with Irvin Dixon. Irvin Dixon actually delivers a really good, strong performance here as the boxer Bowley Jackson, and he basically he's going to his fight, and he sort of says the boy is his friend, and the boy says, "I'm going to make the biggest, tallest wish for you." That's like a really special wish for when he's in the fight. So Bowley goes to the fight, but while he's kind of getting ready, a boxing promoter by the name of Thomas comes to see him. Now, this promoter is specialises in like boxers on the way out, broken down boxers, but who will still provide a decent fight, and he guarantees that they'll give a decent first 2 rounds. That's the spiel. Really, it's like Skid Row for boxers working for this guy. That's what it is. And Bowley, and basically, he's kind of bad mouth. He's saying, "You ain't gonna win tonight," you know. It's all that kind of stuff. And Bowley gets annoyed and kind of throws a punch, but punches a wall and breaks his hand. However, he still wants to fight. I mean, he probably needs the money, if nothing else. So he says, you know, bind up the hand, put the gloves on, we're going to go. And he goes into the ring. Now he's fighting. Now, there's some interesting stuff direction-wise. I mean, they're meant to be in like a fairly medium-sized stadium for boxing. Now, obviously, this is the Twilight Zone. They haven't got the budget to sort of do that sort of thing. And the director came up with some interesting tricks. He basically showed members of the crowd sort of getting excited, you know, people lighting a cigarette or with their hands in front of their face, that kind of thing, and built the tension that way, and focus up close ups on the boxers' faces as well, which meant it gave the feeling of being in a big place without showing, and it worked quite well. I thought it was pretty darn good. Essentially, Bowley in the end gets knocked down and is being counted out. But the little boy, Henry, makes his wish, and then suddenly, as Bowley comes to, he's won the fight. And he even talks to his trainer or ringside person afterwards. He says, "I don't even remember getting up." And the guy's like, "What do you mean you were never down?" And he goes, and he convinces himself, "Oh, okay, I did it. That's great." But when he goes back, he talks to the little boy and he realises it was a wish, or the boy says it was a wish, and he refuses to believe it. He just refuses to believe that magic helped him. He can't believe it isn't his own sort of skills and talent and experience. But by denying it's magic, he suddenly then is back on the floor of the ring, being counted out, and he realises his mistake. But he says, but then when we cut back and he comes back from the fight, neither the boy or Bowley remember the circumstances of that. They've kind of forgotten it, and the boy says, "I did wish for you," and maybe there ain't no such thing as magic. And Bowley says, "Maybe there is. Maybe there's wishes, but maybe there's not enough people that believe it." So this is about belief. Now, one of the things Rod Serling said about this is, you know, people are people. You know, humanity is a common experience. It's not race-based. There are certain things that happen to people that is, you know, everyone can sort of empathise with and understand, and that's kind of his what is portrayed here. Interesting episode all round. And Rod Serling went on to cast black actors in significant roles in other episodes of Twilight Zone, which is pretty cool, including Ivan Dixon again. Now it's what he did, you know, was just small steps, but in the right direction. And indeed, the Twilight Zone was awarded because of these small steps. The Twilight Zone as a series was awarded the Unity Award for Outstanding Contribution to Better Race Relations in 1961. So, you know, people acknowledge this, that it was sort of a progressive, forward-looking show, and I find that quite cool. Good episode, strong episode. Not one I've ever seen before. I wouldn't put it as like the top tier of the Twilight Zone, but it's quite high. It's certainly in the top half of the sort of quality shows, the quality episodes of the Twilight Zone. So I really quite enjoyed it. Solid episode. Okay, I'm going to wind it up there. But before I go, may I ask, is anybody out there?
I'm not.
We now return control of your television set to you. Until next week at this same time. when the control voice will take you to